Let's have a new take on a tired old conversation.
I can do this all day.
I could do this all day.
You're not Steve Rogers.
Now, I'll start by saying that I actually like Anthony Mackie. Unless he does something crazy at any point in the future, in which case that statement is retracted. But now that the dust has settled on Captain Falcon or Falcon America,
That's the Black Falcon there.
I went to see Black in America.
and the people who had a vested interest in defending it seem to have completed their self-righteous fight to protect a bad movie on ideological grounds, let's have a level-headed conversation. I am genuinely curious if people actually like the concept of turning popular heroes into mantels. Well, yes, we know all new, all different Marvel was massively unpopular, and the goal there was clearly to remove all the established heroes and replace them with diverse characters, which the Marvel Cinematic Universe attempted to do as well to its own detriment. That drum has been beaten to death, and it's not what I want to focus on here. All I'm trying to figure out is,
Women are always saving the men around here. You might want to think about changing the name to X-Women.
I'm not about to let a man take credit for a woman's work.
I'm a black man carrying the stars and stripes. What don't I understand?
Ain't Captain America one of those things where we not wrong to prefer it white?
You're right. I don't know why they did that.
if we strip away all the politics and gender and skin color drama and have a like-for-like character swap, does a large percentage of the general audience actually like this as a concept? Because everything about how everyone operates says that that is not the case. When critiquing the concept of leeching off established brands to give lesser-known characters more prominence without doing the hard work and starting from scratch, I try to keep my arguments within one demographic so I don't have to deal with emotional tangents which have nothing to do with what I'm saying. And that's not to say I don't get emotional myself, I'm not putting myself on a high horse, but I like to keep my emotions within the focus of the discussion and not invent new accusations or buzzwords in my head when I hear something that I don't like, then accuse the other person of being a coconut. Google translate coconut to Swahili if you're lost. Like for example, I try to use Barry Allen and Wally West or Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes, who I'll talk about very shortly, but somewhere else I mentioned that I have no interest in stories about Batman passing down his iconic branding to one of the kids, but came to discover that even that is a controversial opinion.
And Mailman, I will respectfully disagree. I personally don't care for the concept of mantles. I don't care for Bucky getting it, don't care for Sam getting it, don't care for Dick Grayson or any other Robin becoming Batman. You lost me right there because Dick Grayson, Batman, Grant Morrison was doing his thing with that book. So I'm going to ask you to respectfully, because you didn't say anything just super out of pocket.
No.
Respectfully tell you, Mailman, to sit your ass down. That's all I'm saying.
No, because I like Dick.
Hey, yo, pause.
But my response to that would be that a concept as a whole can be a bad idea, but it's possible to find a very creative person who is able to spin that bad idea, such as mantle passing, into a very compelling story. I'm pretty confident in saying that such a scenario will always be the minority. For every questionable decision, you will get one spark of brilliance versus 99 examples of slop that ultimately devalue the medium as a whole. In the same way that presenting one Winter Soldier in a sea of Madam Webs, Morbiuses, and Cravens would not present a compelling value proposition to investors about the viability of comic book movies. The little good always gets drowned out by the bad. So let's get to why this confuses me and has led me to ask this question, because I am honestly and genuinely trying to understand where the disconnect is. When you call someone the next Michael Jordan, you upset Jordan fans. When you call someone the new Beyonce, you will upset the Bayhive. When you call someone the new Nicki Minaj, the Barbs will come for you. When you compare Cristiano Ronaldo to Ronaldo Nazario, people call Nazario the real Ronaldo and they don't even like that Cristiano has the same name.
Ronaldo. All niner. The real Ronaldo.
The real one.
He's the GOAT.
How many Ronaldo did you know when you were growing up?
No, only one. What I'm saying is to call him the real Ronaldo.
Yeah, always.
Now when we've got Ronaldo
in the
tomorrow.
game, people will say the real one. Ronaldo is R9. Cristiano is Cristiano Ronaldo.
But when you call Peter Parker the real Spider-Man, it becomes a divisive issue. They talk about retiring jerseys for Kobe Bryant and a lot of other beloved and acclaimed players in respect of the greatness of the retired or deceased player. Marvel stood firm for a while on the fact that Chadwick Boseman could not be replaced. If you call someone the new Denzel Washington, you will draw the ire of a lot of fans who will come at you and say that there is only one Denzel Washington, but somehow Thor is a mantle and not his name. I could go on, but suffice it to say, people love to hold up their heroes and defend their names and accomplishments against disrespect or unfair comparison. If you've kept up at all with internet drama, there is a lady called Brett Cooper who hosted a show on the Daily Wire called The Comment Section. There was a lot of scandal surrounding her departure from the show and replacement by this other lady who was apparently mimicking her presentation style. Multiply this scenario across several channels that have switched hosts midway, and once you visit the comment sections, all you will find is, we do not watch for insert name of the show here, we watch for insert name of the host here. If somewhere along Age of Ultron, Marvel had decided to recast Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans, the MCU would have collapsed a lot sooner. But at the same time, you will find a good proportion of those people who consider their favorite public figures irreplaceable, turning around and defending mantles or switching protagonists once an IP has become big enough to become very profitable. But they don't even like it when their favorite fictional characters switch voice actors. What are we talking about? It is my argument that people innately understand the power of individuality and the strength of connections that develop with years of familiarity to a person, and people will defend those connections almost violently. But when it comes to fiction, where fans have spent all these decades with a character, some of them will turn around and pull a 180 on their stance.
I like your shield.
That shield doesn't belong to you.
So as usually happens to me when I'm making these videos, I coincidentally, serendipitously even, stumbled across a publication in an ancient tomb called Facebook. You might have heard of it. If memory serves me and my comic book people, feel free to correct me if I'm misremembering. But this page is from a comic book that follows the events of the Civil War event. And as I remember it, Thor and Hulk were not available for the event because they would have decidedly tipped the war one way or another, so they had to be written off-world. And Steve Rogers was comic book killed at the end of the event. So we pick up here with the first meeting of Thor and Captain America since those events, but not Steve Rogers in this case. So, Thor says,
"You wear the uniform of Captain America, a true friend of mine, the greatest Avenger, but you are not he."
To which Bucky responds, "Weren't you dead?" Just imagine if someone walks into your life today and snatches your best friend away from you and replaces them with a complete stranger, but asks you to treat them the same way you would your friend who you have years of history and experiences with. Piece of cake, right?
It's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience.
I mean, as long as they have the same mannerisms, we can replace anyone, right? We're all just interchangeable Lego pieces that will fit in once one gets taken out. What's the point of attachment when we're all so easily replaced?
The Skrulls did nothing wrong.
So I saw a comment underneath that post and I felt like it was an amazing perspective on this whole concept of mantles. Dar-El, who might be from the House of El, disputes that Captain America is a mantle that can be passed from character to character. In summary, the whole reason why we get the origin story about this skinny kid from Brooklyn who doesn't back down from a fight and would jump on a grenade to save other people who did not even respect him, might I add, and was constantly ready to risk his life for the greater good, really feels like a slap in the face when the writers decide that he is a costume that can be worn by anyone else. I'll let you read the rest of the comment because I thought it was spot on, but this is a summation of my problem with this concept. People are just not interchangeable. Wearing a unique suit and being brave enough to fight for something important to you is not a cup of sugar that can be passed around to your next door neighbors. Nobody can walk into a stadium or a sports arena and wear a jersey of a former great and inherit all the respect and accolades that come with having that name on their back. This argument has really been pushed across comics from Thor to Daredevil to Spider-Man to The Flash, when no one would actually accept this in the real world. Are you sad that Tom Brady retired? Let Patrick Mahomes wear his jersey and call himself the new Tom Brady. Then he can pick up all the Patriots fans and continue Tom Brady's legacy in New England. I'm sure even the thought of that pissed some people off.
Who do you love more, the Patriots or Tom Brady?
It's tough. That's such a tough thing. Tom's up there, man.
Tom is way up there.
I love the Patriots, like any sports entity, but Tom is a special man.
Hey, yo, pause.
But if we're being realistic, this would be considered identity theft at best, and whoever decided to wear a bulletproof vest and call himself 50 Cent would be seen as a nutcase. Go and watch the video about how Hailey Bieber keeps copying Selena Gomez. But this whole thing is just so ridiculous to me because everyone hates Nepo babies and you take every chance you get to remind Jaden Smith that he is not his father. He didn't make the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he never made you get jiggy with it, and a lot of you feel like you know Will Smith even better than Jaden does because you feel like you grew up with him long before Jaden was born and you feel like that's an experience he will never understand. This is a common criticism for every successful person who benefited from a shortcut provided to them by their parents, but you turn around and cheer on a character wearing the reputation of another character who was not involved in building that reputation for decades through hard work. So which one is it? From the hack writer's perspective, they cannot create great new popular heroes or great new anything for that matter, so they must try to steal the sauce from the previous greats. That part is not a mystery and I've talked about it ad nauseum. The part I don't understand is, what do the fans get out of this? Is everyone who cheers this on either a tourist who just saw a shiny new object that they can now claim to be a fan of, then once the hype dies down they go off on their merry way, or did they read the comics before and hate the character, but they now get to enjoy the popular branding of the character but as a costume worn by someone else, or are they just complete hypocrites? I genuinely would like to know. I usually engage with all my comments, hostile or otherwise, so please enlighten me if you have a perspective that I have not considered. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Let me know what you think about a possible Spider-Man 3 with Peter Parker, hopefully not being on the couch